Hello and welcome to Twist List. Today we are looking at 10 more terrible bigots in modern history. It has been a while since 10 Terrible Bigots in Modern History was released, and it has proven to be quite a popular list, with many commentors clamoring on about people that were missed. So, here are 10 more examples of human slime deserving mention in order to supplement the first list. At number 10 we have David Duke. David Ernest Duke got his start in the white nationalist circuit as Grand Wizard of the Knights of the Ku Klux Klan. During his tenure, he attempted to put a more positive spin on the Klan by reinventing them as a simple organization looking out for the rights of white Americans. Not surprisingly, the exchange of white robes for suits and ties didn't sit well with most Americans, white and black, who were still haunted by memories of the violence that the Klan had committed during the civil rights movement. Duke entered politics in 1979, running for the District 10 state Senate seat in his home state of Louisiana as a Democrat, finishing second. In 1988 he ran in the Democratic presidential primaries, but his campaign failed to have any impact, but followed this up with a 1989 win in the Louisiana State House after switching his affiliation to Republican. Duke has praised Ernst Zündel, a prominent Holocaust denier, even calling him a political prisoner when Zündel was imprisoned in Germany for inciting ethnic hatred. Duke himself has engaged in Holocaust denial, and in 2002 published his book Jewish Supremacism, My Awakening on the Jewish Question, in which he asserts that Jews are racist by nature, similar to how many black nationalists assert whites are racist by nature. Duke has also blamed the 9/11 attacks on the Israeli Mossad, and parroted the now discredited idea that 3,000 Israeli businessmen were ordered to stay home on the 11th of September. His articles routinely appear on Stormfront, the largest online forum dedicated to white supremacism and neo-Nazism. The 9th spot on the list is occupied by Ernst Zündel. Ernst Zündel was born in Bad Wildbad in Germany, and emigrated to Canada when he was 19. He would later spend most of his life in that country. Initially working as a graphic designer, he came to prominence as an activist against perceived discrimination against German Canadians due to media bias. It was during this time that his openly neo-Nazi views became well known, especially with the publication of his anti-Semitic pamphlet The Hitler We Loved and Why. Zündel is most famous for his denial of the Holocaust. In the 1970s he founded Samizdat Publications, devoting it to printing neo-Nazi and Holocaust denial material, such as the book Did 6 Million Really Die?, which asserted that the Holocaust was made up by the Jews and the Allies as a pretext for the establishment of the State of Israel. Zündel has also published material obsessing over Allied war crimes during World War II, completely ignoring German war crimes, and openly supported Nazi war criminals. During the trial of Imre Fiente, he told a survivor of the Holocaust who confronted him, "Listen, yeah, we are gonna get you yet, don't you worry." Number 8 on our list is Malik Zulu Shabazz. Malik Zulu Shabazz is the current head of the new Black Panther Party, NBPP, the purported descendant of the original Black Panther Party of the 60s and 70s. The original party members have disowned the new group. During his time as a student at Howard University, Shabazz fell under the tutelage of Khalid Abdul Muhammad, who according to Shabazz helped to shape my life and was a captain and minister over me. From Muhammad, Shabazz would inherit the vile anti-white and anti-Semitic views that would characterize his career. Shabazz joined the Nation of Islam in 1995, participating in the group's October 16th Million Man March in Washington, D.C. The day before the rally, at a Black African Holocaust nationhood conference, Shabazz stated America should be glad that every black man is not on a killing spree for all the suffering they, white Americans, have done. In 1998, he tried to organize a Million Youth March in Harlem, during which he threatened to kill police officers. The only solution anytime there is a funeral in the black community, is a funeral in the police community, he told his followers. In 2000, during a rally organized by Al Sharpton, he called for a race war. For every casket and funeral in our community, there should be a casket and funeral in the enemy's community. Parroting neo-Nazi conspiracy theories, he has repeatedly insinuated that the Jews were involved in the 9/11 attacks, and has given support to convicted cop killer Mumia Abu-Jamal. Protesting B'nai B'rith in 2002, he said, "Kill every goddamn Zionist in Israel. Goddamn little babies, goddamn old ladies. Blow up Zionist supermarkets," and multiple times has blamed Jews for the slave trade. At number 7 we have Haunani K. Trask. When most people think of native Hawaiian culture, they think of a proud people who are also full of aloha and willing to live side by side with those who share their islands with them. Apparently, Haunani K. Trask never got the memo. Born in California in 1949, Trask graduated from the University of Wisconsin in 1972 and later came to Hawaii, where she gained a professorship at the University of Hawaii. It was here that she became involved with the unseemly elements of the Hawaiian sovereignty movement, blending Hawaiian ethnic nationalism with racial supremacism. Trask and her fellow hardcore sovereignty activists have created what Professor Kenneth Conklin calls Hawaiian supremacism. When a University of Hawaii student named Joey Carter wrote an editorial in the student newspaper against the use of the Hawaiian word holi, a Hawaiian word originally meaning foreigner which has increasingly been used as a racial slur against whites, Trask replied by demeaning him. "Too bad, Mr. Carter, you are a holi and you always will be," she wrote in her reply, further stating if Mr. Carter does not like being called holi, he can return to Louisiana. Hawaiians would certainly benefit from one less holi in our land. In fact, United Airlines has dozens of flights to the U.S. continent every day, Mr. Carter. Why don't you take one? Not surprising, as Trask has worked with groups which assert that Kanaka Maoli, native Hawaiians, have exclusive rights to the Hawaiian Islands and advocate the expulsion of all non-native Hawaiians from Hawaii. Trask's writings seethe with hatred for whites, as evidenced in her poem Racist White Woman. Racist white woman, I could kick your face, puncture both eyes. You deserve this kind of violence. No more vicious tongues, obscene lies. Just a knife slitting your tight little heart. For all my people under your feet, for all those years lived smug and wealthy off our land, parasite arrogant, a fist in your painted mouth, thick with money and piety. Number 6 on the list is Don Black. Don Black is a well-known white supremacist whose forte is internet activism. Born in Athens, Alabama, Don Black was a white supremacist early on, passing out white supremacist literature at his high school and later thwarting a ban by mailing it directly to students' homes. He later joined the Knights of the Ku Klux Klan in 1975 and became Grand Wizard after David Duke resigned in 1978. In 1981, he was arrested in New Orleans for trying to invade the country of Dominica with a boat stocked full of weapons. Black is perhaps most famous, however, for starting Stormfront, the internet's premier hate site. Neo-Nazis and white supremacists from all over the world gather to spread their bile. Black is still the current webmaster, and regularly publishes articles from across the racist world, including articles from David Duke and the Institute for Historical Review, an appallingly misnamed Holocaust denial organization. In a 1998 interview for the Miami New Times he stated, "We want to take America back. We know a multicultural Yugoslav nation can't hold up for too long. Whites won't have any choice but to take military action. It's our children whose interests we have to defend." In 2008, he courted controversy by donating money to Ron Paul's presidential campaign, which Paul subsequently refused to return after it was revealed. The 5th spot on the list is occupied by Matthew F. Hale. A wannabe religious leader, Matthew F. Hale is a leader of the white supremacist religion Creativity, who advertises themselves as a religion for and about white people, advocating racial holy war against Jews and non-whites to establish a pure white world. Raised in East Peoria, Illinois, Hale was reading white supremacist materials by age 12, including Hitler's Mein Kampf. He entered Bradley University and was later expelled for inviting the Ku Klux Klan to the school. Hale founded the New Church of the Creator in 1993, later changing its name to the World Church of the Creator after being made Pontifex Maximus, Supreme Leader. He continued his white supremacist activism, which took a deadly turn in 2003, when Hale was arrested on federal charges for attempting to solicit the murder of Judge Joan Lefkow. He was sentenced to 40 years in federal prison and is currently incarcerated at ADX Florence in Florence, Colorado. Number 4 on the list is Stellio Capo Chichi. Better known by his nom de guerre Kemi Seba, Stellio Cap Chichi is a French Muslim of North African descent and is commonly referred to as the French Farrakhan. Indeed, Chichi has taken a page from the Nation of Islam leader's playbook, the anti-Semitic one. In 2004 he founded the Parisian political group Tripukar, abbreviation for the Achenian tribe of Kemet, which preached a combination of anti-Semitic Kemetism and Islam, similar to the noise mix of Theosophy and Sunni Islam. In 2006, The group staged a demonstration in Paris' Jewish neighborhood, shouting anti-Semitic slogans and threatening pedestrians. In response, the French Ministry of Interior dissolved the group on grounds of incitement of racial hatred. The group was reformed under the name Génération Camiseba, and during the trial of Youssouf Fofana for the kidnapping and brutal murder of Ilan Halimi, sent threatening, anti-Semitic emails to various Jewish organizations, which led to his imprisonment. While in prison, he became Secretary General of MDI, the Mouvement des Damnés de l'Impérialisme, or Movement of Those Damned by Imperialism, which maintains ties to the terrorist group Hezbollah and their anti-Semitic campaigns. At the third place we have Elijah Muhammad. Elijah Muhammad was born in Sandersville, Georgia, and eventually relocated to Detroit, where he gained a job in the Detroit auto factories, and was exposed to the teachings of Wallace Fair Muhammad, the founder of the Nation of Islam. According to Noylaw, Muhammad, then known by his birth name Elijah Pooh, came to realize that Wallace Fair Muhammad was Allah, and became a minister in the fledgling Nation of Islam. He later relocated again to Chicago and established the Noy Temple there, streamlining WFM's racist theology that held blacks were the chosen race and whites were inferior and created by blacks to be a slave race. Following his mentor's disappearance in 1934, Elijah Muhammad moved the Noy's headquarters to Chicago. During this time, he began to urge blacks to resist serving in World War II, and even went as far as to urge them to support the Japanese. Elijah Muhammad was virulently anti-white. His speeches and writings characterized whites as devils and the evil and murderous race, and asserted that whites are the beast mentioned in the Book of Revelation. He firmly believed in racial separation, even advocating a black homeland in the United States where no whites would be allowed. At the second spot is Fred Phelps. Born in 1929 in Meridian, Mississippi, Fred Phelps experienced a religious awakening after graduating high school and entered Bob Jones University for Bible/ministerial training. In 1947 he was ordained as a minister by the Southern Baptists and married in 1952. He was assigned to pastor a Baptist congregation in Topeka, Kansas, but his violent behavior quickly brought his job to an end. This led him to found the Westboro Baptist Church, comprised primarily of Phelps family members. Westboro Baptist preaches a unique brand of Calvinism which teaches God's perfect hatred of the unrighteous, of which homosexuals are chief, in open contradiction to the Christian tradition of compassion and mercy for sinners. The group is best known for its pickets of the funerals of American soldiers killed in Iraq and Afghanistan, characterizing their deaths as punishment from God for tolerating homosexuality. Phelps preaches that America and everyone in it is doomed and will split hell wide open when they die, with no chance to repent. After 9/11 his group carried signs saying "Thank God for 9/11", reasoning God killed the victims as punishment for sin. And finally, at number 1, George Lincoln Rockwell. George Lincoln Rockwell, center in the picture above, is perhaps the founding father of American neo-Nazism. Born in Bloomington, Illinois, Rockwell served in the Navy during World War II. He became active in politics after being influenced by the anti-communist activities of Senator Joe McCarthy, and campaigned for Douglas MacArthur's presidential campaign, adopting the corncob pipe that MacArthur was famous for. It was then that he was exposed to anti-Semitism and Nazi ideology by reading Mein Kampf and Protocols of the Elders of Zion. Rockwell had morphed into the father of American white supremacy. He founded the American Nazi Party in March of 1959, and held its first major rally on the National Mall of Washington, D.C. Though he stated that in a Nazi America he would treat loyal Jews as equal, he said he believed 90% of Jews to be disloyal and would execute them. In the summer of 1966, he led counter-demonstrations against Martin Luther King Jr., and assisted the Ku Klux Klan in their fight against the civil rights movement. He coined the salute white power, and started Hate Nanny Records to distribute white supremacist music, with infamous titles like Ship Those Niggers Back, and founded the modern Holocaust denial movement by characterizing it as a Jewish conspiracy. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video and would like to see more, then please hit the subscribe button.